Hey, welcome. Today, we're diving into something that's changing the game for businesses everywhere, AI agents. We're going to look at the actual strategy behind how these new teammates are being used to completely reshape sales and support, basically turning all that boring busy work into smart, automated action.
So, here's our plan. We'll kick things off by talking about the problem with busy work. Then we'll jump into the solutions, first for support, then for sales. After that, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of how you actually deploy these things, see how they work in different industries, and then wrap it all up with the big takeaway.
All right, so let's start with a pain point that, let's be honest, we all know too well. Busy work. You see it in sales, you see it in support, all those little repetitive manual tasks. They aren't just annoying, They create real friction that slows down your growth, makes customers unhappy, and just completely burns out your best people. It's this universal drag on everything.
But what if you could just get rid of it? Seriously, what if you had a system that could just handle all that repetitive noise so your team could actually focus on what people are great at, like building real relationships and solving the tricky problems? That's really the core idea we're digging into here.
And this comparison just lays it all out, doesn't it? So many teams are stuck in that old way column, long waits, endless manual follow-ups, and answers that are all over the place. The agent way completely flips the script. We're talking instant, automated, and totally focused. It's a massive shift in how work actually gets done.
So, let's break down the first big solution here, the support agent. The best way to think about this is like having your absolute best, most knowledgeable team member who also happens to be available 24/7. And this agent is specifically designed to solve all those classic customer support headaches. You know the drill. Getting totally buried in tickets, taking forever to get back to people, answering the same 5 questions again and again, and of course, having zero support after hours. Plus, all your important info is scattered across a dozen different places. Sound familiar?
So the way it works is actually pretty cool. The agent plugs into all of a company's existing knowledge. We're talking internal documents, help desk articles, everything. And it just learns it all. It basically becomes a true expert on the business, ready to help customers in an instant, any time of the day or night.
But look, this isn't some magic button you press. It's a really clear, methodical process. It all starts with getting the data on board. And then, this is the really crucial part, a company's own team uses it internally first to test it and make sure it's accurate. After they optimize it, then it gets rolled out to actual customers.
So what's the payoff? Well, typically you see a reduction of more than 50% in support tickets that actually need a human to look at them. Just think about that. It frees up the team to focus only on the most complex, high-value customer problems.
And the numbers on the financial side are just as wild. The cost to solve a common problem can be up to 20 times lower than doing it the old manual way. For any business that's trying to scale their support, that is an absolute game changer. Okay, so that's support. Now let's flip over to the other side of the house, sales. It turns out the same exact idea of an AI agent can completely revolutionize how you connect with potential customers. I mean, sales teams face a very similar set of problems, right? You bring in a ton of leads, but following up with them is spotty at best. Someone has to manually go through and qualify every single one, and your best salespeople, who should be selling, end up spending half their day buried in admin tasks.
This is where the sales agent comes in. It automates that whole messy top-of-funnel process. It responds to new leads instantly, asks the right qualifying questions, sends out personalized info, and can even book a meeting right on a salesperson's calendar. It basically warms up the leads so your team only talks to people who are actually ready to talk.
And the impact on the numbers is just huge. When you have instant, consistent follow-up, you see a direct jump in conversion rates, response times plummet, and most importantly, the sales team gets to spend way more of their time doing what you hired them to do, selling.
All right, so I know what you're thinking. This all sounds fantastic in theory, but what about the reality of it? Whenever you talk about bringing in new tech, there are always some tough but fair questions. So let's just tackle the 3 biggest ones right now. First up, the big one, the technical headache. People worry that this is going to be some massive IT project that messes everything up. Is it actually hard to get this to work with the tools you're already using every day? Well, the answer is usually pretty simple. Most of these solutions come with pre-built connectors for all the common stuff, like Zendesk or Salesforce. And typically, the provider's team is the one that handles the technical heavy lifting, which makes the whole process as smooth as possible for you. Okay, this next one is absolutely critical. If this agent is going to be representing your brand, you have to be able to trust it, right?
So how can you be sure it's giving out correct, reliable info and not just making stuff up?
Accuracy isn't an accident. It's built in from the start. It all begins with structuring the data carefully. And then, remember that internal pilot phase we talked about? That's where the company's own team gives real human feedback to fine-tune everything before a single customer ever sees it.
And last but definitely not least, the question that should be on everybody's mind: security. You're connecting this tool to your company's deepest knowledge and your customer data. How do you know that stuff is safe?
So the whole system is designed with security as a top priority. Think of it this way. Each company's agent gets its own private, isolated environment, like a digital sandbox. Your data never, ever mixes with anyone else's, and you have complete control over what information the agent can even see.
Now, it's really easy to think of this as just a generic one-size-fits-all tool, but its real power, its secret sauce, is how adaptable it is. This technology can be specifically tailored for the really unique and complex needs of all sorts of different industries.
Let's just look at a few quick examples. In healthcare, everything has to be HIPAA compliant, so the agent is built with very specific guardrails. In finance, it has to follow super strict regulations while also scaling up outreach. And for software companies, it can be trained to understand really technical documents and APIs to give expert-level help. And that all brings us to the final, and I think most important idea. As these AI agents become more and more common, taking over all the routine stuff in sales and support, it unlocks so much human potential. So the real question for all of us isn't about replacing people, it's about elevating them. When the machine handles the process, what new skills, what deeper knowledge, what higher value work can our teams master next? That's the future these agents are helping us build.